Hi everyone. So today I'm going to speak about a useful hack you can use to learn litigation in different forums. One of the challenges people face is that firstly, litigation is very complicated to learn. If you want to learn mainstream civil or criminal litigation, it takes a long time. And then litigation processes at different tribunals are different because the civil procedure code doesn't apply. So people want to, then people tend to avoid, young lawyers will avoid taking up matters in those forums, or they may make mistakes with procedure. So I'm going to share a simple and quick method you can use so that you can quickly learn procedures of new forums and be comfortable with them. Now, in any case, you can start off from the 5 or 6 basic steps that are there in litigation in a civil case. Okay, then you go to map them with the CPC and then you go to the rules. So what are these few basic steps? The first step is the initiation of the litigation, which can be through filing a suit or filing a complaint with an authority. Now then there will be a response to that, so it could be called a reply or a written statement, and then again a response by the initial petitioner, which is called the rejoinder. Now these together form the pleadings. After the pleadings are complete, then the court or the tribunal will be framing issues. Based on the issues, evidence is taken. Now evidence could mean oral evidence or documentary evidence or evidence on affidavit. And so there will be examination in chief where there is oral evidence or documentary evidence also, and there can be cross-examination. So this is the evidence taking procedure. After this, there will be final arguments. And based on the final, now in the final arguments, the facts and the evidence and the pleadings will all be taken together and the points of law will be argued. Based on this, the court comes up with a decision. Okay, and it will issue an order or a judgment and a decree. Now, when you initially file the case, there is one layer that gets added. Usually in most forums, there are powers to order interim reliefs. So there may be a separate interim application, or there may be an interim prayer, which is along with the main prayer. Now, after your judgment is out, then there is the next process, which is either execution or appeals process. Okay. Now there are many deeper layers to this, but I will not go there. I will stick to this first basic framework. Now what you have to do is you can take up the provisions of the CPC if you're looking at a civil case and map as to how these essential components fit in, and this can be a great way to learn how CPC works, how the Code of Civil Procedure works. Now the next level can be that when you want to look at how a specific forum works, let's say the DRAT, the Debts Recovery Appellate Tribunal, or the TDSAT, the Telecom Dispute Settlement and Appellate Tribunal, how they work. So there, or the Delhi High Court, okay, or the Supreme Court work. So then you can compare this procedure to that procedure as and when the need arises. You don't need to rush for it, you don't need to overload your mind. So let's say you're dealing with something at the Supreme Court. You can immediately pick up the Supreme Court rules and look at the Supreme Court procedure for that. The Supreme Court also has something called the Handbook of Practice, which is uploaded online for free access, where more details about how to format and put up petitions, how to draft them, line spacing, a lot of administrative and technical details are mentioned in that. You can use that. If you are filing at a high court, you can look at the High Court's rules. They are similar to the Civil Procedure Code, but still there are many differences. Okay, but you will be able to sort of understand the patterns there. Now if you want to go before a tribunal, look at the rules of that tribunal. One thing you will notice when you look at the procedure for any of the tribunals is that it's much shorter. Okay, but exactly what steps are omitted, what steps are added, and what part of the procedure is simplified will be evident only when you actually go through those rules. Okay, but once you know the broad stages in the Civil Procedure Code, then you can actually compare it with those of a specific tribunal. Okay, and this is not an academic exercise, but you will just go through the rules and it will strike you the points that are not there or how the procedure is simplified. That will really strike you. immediately. Okay, like in, for example, in labor commissioners courts, interim reliefs are often not prayed for. So there is direct complaint, there's a reply, and then the matter proceeds to issue, framing and evidence stages. Trial procedures are very shortened. Unless cross-examination is requested, it is not undertaken, and then a decision is issued. Okay, so I hope you all found this valuable. Do share your comments and how you can use this in your career. And cheers.